A storm of falling stars, aka 1.4, is releasing in a few days, and we have new information on our limited S-rank units coming next patch. Now normally this is one of my videos where I would love to tell you guys why I'm skipping one character over another, but with this patch the HoYo team has decided to bless us all and we'll be getting a free copy of Harumasa once the patch goes live on December 18th. So in this video, instead of talking about who we should skip, let's look into why we should be investing in both Harumasa and Miyabi. And to start, let's again go over Harumasa. Harumasa is our first S-rank electric attack agent in Zenless since he's looking to replace units like Anton as your main DPS. He's a unit that seems to specialize in close to mid-range combat due to him being able to switch between two weapon types, bow and dual blades. Having this type of playstyle allows him to continue the trend of Section 6 units being stance characters, but his stance seems to work a bit differently. See, when using his basic attacks, Harumasa constantly switches between both his bow and blades, allowing him to weave back and forth against his enemies. This allows him to be a very agile unit when he's engaging enemies, but when looking at other aspects of his kit, he's given a lot more control over how he wants to approach targets as well. For instance, when he performs any dodges, it seems like he'll always perform some form of bow attacks. If it's a dodge counter, it's more of a retreating shot, but if it's a normal dodge, it's sliding rapid fire shots that helps him close the distance between his enemies. He also has an upward leap with his special attack that lets him shoot from the air and transition into a ground shot. This is pretty similar to the dodge counter as it allows him to retreat as well as dealing electric damage. Now the cool thing with Harumasa is that outside of using his bow and blades to deal damage, he also has his electro quivers, providing him a trap playstyle. This is something new for Zenless, and how Harumasa is able to do this is when he uses his EX special attack, chain attack and other skills in his kit, he generates 6 electro quivers on field. Now the EX special attack itself is an enhanced arrow shot, and his quivers generate when he hits a target and even when he hits the ground. With his quivers, he can trigger them to attack enemies by holding his basic attack or special attack, applying electro prison to the targets when they hit, which are stacks that trigger the unique mechanic X mark. At least 2 stacks of electro prison are needed for X mark to activate, and they can be stacked up to 8 times, lasting 10 seconds. Because of his quivers, this actually allows Harumasa to play an effective long range game with his bow while building stacks pretty easily. Once they've been built and X marked is activated, Harumasa enters an awakened state that massively buffs his dash attack by turning it into rapid electric slashes. These attacks allow him to easily close the distance between him and his enemies, and whenever the dash attack hits an enemy, it consumes 2 stacks of electro prison per slash. Keep in mind that once you have less than 2 stacks available, X marks is then deactivated, causing Harumasa to lose the awakened state. Now when it comes to forming a team for Harumasa, he potentially has some of the most flexibility in the game. In the live stream they mentioned that he loves working with stun units because he can easily come in with Falling Feather, which looks to be his chain attack. Falling Feather applies 2 stacks of electro prison so that he can trigger X mark whenever he's ready. All of this is because of his additional ability Overclock. Now what's interesting about Overclock is that it can be activated by either stun units or anomaly units. This is the first time we've ever had an agent have the option of 2 classes being able to trigger their additional ability. Normally it's one class in either their element or their faction, but because of this unique case for Harumasa, it completely opens up his team potential, allowing him to have comps like Ambi Nicole Harumasa for my free-to-play players, or you can switch out Ambi for Chingy Rena Harumasa, or even something unexpected like Coletta Grace Harumasa. This is just scratching the surface with the possible teams he can have, but to have a level of flexibility like this as a free unit is insane and is really valuable for all players, especially my new and returning. I know a lot of you guys aren't going to have a second team build or even well built units in general because a lot of you are going to be essentially considered new to the game. So having Harumasa available at the beginning of 1.4 will allow you to easily construct a decent team to start until you get more units in the future. We'll also be getting the materials needed to build him up to level 40 through an event, so with the game offering you a value like this, you might as well take it. That even goes for my ongoing players. With the new in-game mode Deadly Assault coming in 1.4, we are going to need to start building a third team pretty soon, and Harumasa could easily be a great option for all of us to get that started. I know for me, I'm in the need of an electric DPS because I don't like Grace, and Anton is pretty weak. So you can kind of guess that it's actually pretty rough for me to clear electric based content due to me not having the proper units built to effectively clear it. With them giving us Harumasa though, this should no longer be a problem for me now, and I'm going to take advantage of that definitely. Anyway, when it comes to playing Harumasa, it seems like you want to chain attack into him using Falling Feather so that the 2 stacks of Electro Prison is applied immediately. Once that's done, you can then trigger his EX special attack to set his quivers and trigger them to attack and gain the rest of the stacks you need. Now it's game time. X mark can be activated on wherever enemy you choose, which will put Harumasa in his awakened state ready to deal a massive amount of DPS. Seems a bit complex on paper, but it sounds like a lot of fun. They also showed his ultimate during the stream, but they accidentally provided us the description of Miyabi's ultimate instead of his. But from what we can see, it looks like it just deals a massive amount of electric damage. Honestly, I can't wait until I get the chance to play Harumasa because he's kinda grabbing my attention a little bit more than Miyabi. Now, that's not me thinking he's going to be better than Miyabi in any way, nor do I think he's going to be better than any of our limited premium anomaly units as well. I just think he's going to be strong enough to clear all of the current content we have in the game and the future upcoming content as well, and I think he's going to be a lot of fun to play, which is good enough for me to invest into. But you know what, enough talk about our lazy boy of section 6. Let's go ahead and talk about our girl Miyabi. Miyabi is our first S-rank Frost Anomaly agent, which is a special and unique attribute specifically for her. The uniqueness of this attribute is shown through her gameplay, with it having its own attribute anomaly gauge, as well as it having the ability to flash freeze targets. This flash freezing for Miyabi is known as Frost Corruption, and it seems to be referring to whenever she feels the attribute anomaly gauge. Now, just like any other unit, Miyabi slash deals frost damage, but they apply this unique effect known as Ice Fire. This effect is indicated through the blue flames emitting from the target, and when you attack enemies inflicted with it, Miyabi rapidly fills the frost attribute anomaly gauge. Once the gauge is full, the target is then inflicted by special freeze, shatter, and frostbite effects. Now, they don't say what's special about these effects in comparison to the versions tied to the ice attribute anomaly, but they do mention that when Miyabi applies frostbite to enemies, the ice fire effect is consumed and triggers frost burn break. This kind of reminds me of Assault, which is the debuff tied to physical that interrupts enemies, deal massive amounts of physical damage, and increases the days inflicted to them. But for Frost Burn Break, this deals massive frost damage to the targets and enters them into the frost burn state. When targets are in this state, all squad members will accumulate more anomaly buildup against them. This is an insane buff to have for any unit in the game, because this now allows other anomaly units to apply their attributes much faster than they ever have before, which is something that they already specialize in. And if we big brain it here for a second, this could potentially mean that Miyabi can turn anomaly units like Jane, who normally want a lot of field time, to a unit that no longer requires it, because she'll be building up physical anomaly even faster than what she does now. This would definitely all be dependent on how strong this buff truly is for build up, but if it's pretty substantial, this could influence the future of team comps for Miyabi. Now, when looking at the footage a bit closer, I also noticed that Miyabi can follow up into her second or third basic attacks after certain moves in her kit if the target is either inflicted by Ice Fire or Frost Burn. I'm not sure which one is exactly causing it, but one of them is allowing her to do this. It's actually pretty common now for characters to have the ability to do this in some way in their kit, but when we look at a few of these clips, we can see that with her basic attack combo, she'll start with a basic attack 2 when she completes the full combo once, and we have another one that shows that when she performs her dodge counter, she's able to follow up with her basic attack 3. Characters being able to do this is always good in Zenless, because normally what this means is that you're gaining access to the higher damaging attack part of their kit a lot faster, and I doubt it'll be any different for Miyabi here. Now, to bring it back to Frost Burn Break, when this is triggered, Miyabi will obtain points of Fallen Frost. These are the points under Miyabi's health bar, and once enough points are accumulated, Miyabi gains access to a new stance. Before we break down this stance though, you should also know that Miyabi builds Fallen Frost with her EX special attack. This move is a forward advancing slash that leaves a wide trail of judgment cuts behind her, dealing massive frost damage. If you have enough energy, you can also follow up this move with another EX special that performs a series of judgment cuts again. Both of these EX specials are looking really good because they take up a large amount of space, giving Miyabi the ability to clear large mobs of enemies fairly quickly. Now, once Miyabi builds enough Fallen Frost, she gains access to a hold basic attack and enters the new stance I mentioned before, Shimotsuki. This stance can be triggered with at least 2 points of Fallen Frost and has 3 levels of of charge. Each charge consumes 2 points of Falling Frost, but a cool thing about each charge is that she gains access to a different whole basic attack. Charge level 1 shoots out 3 waves of frost slashes, level 2 is 5 waves of frost slashes with a increased spread, and level 3 is a whirlwind of frost slashes that cuts in front of Miyabi when she unsheaths her sword and around her when she sheaths it. This again shows the mob clearing capabilities that Miyabi has, because every move we've seen so far with this character just hits any and everything in her way. When her additional ability Bask in Frost is active, Shimatsuki damage is increased by 60%. When any squad member triggers this order, Miyabi then obtains 2 points of Fallen Frost, and the next time you perform her whole basic attack, she ignores 30% of the target's ice res. This character is freaking insane. I can only imagine what the damage numbers are about to look like when she drops. Now, in order to trigger this additional ability, there needs to be a support unit or a member from Section 6 a part of Miyabi's team. This is where Miyabi is a bit shaky for some players, because this currently makes team comp selection a bit stricter than what most were expecting. Right now, the current teams I can think of are Bernice Lucy Miyabi, Lighter Lucy Miyabi, and Miyabi Yanagi Sukaku, to just name a few. There are a few others you can do, but a lot of players were hoping that she would love being paired with another anomaly unit, since that seemed like the common trend with the recent limited anomaly characters we've been getting. Honestly, this is technically still the case for Miyabi as well, since her kit still screams that she wants to be paired with other anomaly units. It's her additional ability that doesn't make it a requirement. I will say though, I think the main reason they made support one of her options to trigger her additional ability is because I believe that there is going to be a new support coming into the game that will be directly buffing and supporting Miyabi better than anything else in the game, making them their number one option for her. This is a trend that HoYo tends to follow with their DPS, as they'll release them first and have the units that work with them the best released in the upcoming banners after them. But only time will tell. When playing Miyabi though, the gameplay seems to be that you want to build her Fallen Frost points by using her EX special attack and triggering her Frost Burn Break. These two things themselves will allow Miyabi to deal massive amounts of damage and increase the anomaly buildup for her entire team. Once that's done, you then want to switch into another unit that'll take advantage of the anomaly buildup buff and trigger this order. You can then switch back into Miyabi so that she can take advantage of the damage buff and ice res debuff that's applied to her stance and destroy enemies with her whole basic attacks or even her ultimate. Now, from the looks of it, her ultimate doesn't seem to do as much damage as we would think, and this is because the description says that upon activating her ultimate, Miyabi obtains 3 points of Fallen Frost and increases her ice damage dealt by 30% for 12 seconds. So this ultimate is providing her an additional damage buff instead of being one of the normal high damaging ults we are used to. This is going to require players to continue to utilize the strength of her kit while dealing probably the highest DPS in the entire game, and I think this is really good for her because this will reward players for actually learning and understanding how to play her. Miyabi is looking more and more broken every time we see her, and honestly I can't say I'm surprised. I'm actually super excited to test her really soon and provide you guys some content so you have a better understanding on why you should be pulling her. I know majority of you don't need convincing, since a lot of you were going to be pulling her frame 1, but just in case you do, Miyabi is 100% going to be one of, if not the best character in the entire game due to what this kit is already showing us. She's going to be providing us a new attribute anomaly that essentially does everything that the ice attribute does, but just better. She's also going to be clearing large amounts of mobs off screen with how huge her attacks are, and that's going to be really helpful with almost every in-game mode we're going to be participating in. Miyabi has been the character that the Zenless team has been hyping up ever since the beta days, so I doubt they'll do anything outside of making her exciting and broken. If you don't believe me though, stay tuned to the channel as we continue to bring you guys more content breaking down both of these units, but especially Miyabi. Anyways though, that's everything that we have for Miyabi and Harumasa. Both of these units are looking very exciting and definitely bringing a new level of depth to Zenless that we never experienced before with the previous units we've had in the game. This is something that I've been looking forward to for all of the new characters we've been getting for Zenless, because I want this game to further develop and become a bit more complex while also maintaining that simplistic approach, which I think the dev team has done an amazing job based on the core system that they have developed with Zenless. A lot of these characters are having something new and more things tied within their kit and things that they're able to do, but the overall complexity when it comes to like how they're able to perform it is actually pretty simple. It just provides more layers for them, and that's something that I can't complain about. Harumasa actually surprised me a lot based on how they constructed his kit and how everything works with him, but they definitely delivered my hopes for this character because I wanted him to be that character that could truly show where attackers could be going, especially when he's being released alongside one of the most hyped and beloved characters coming into the game, Miyabi. Regardless though, I'm interested in both of these units. I'm going to be pulling for Miyabi, and I'm going to be investing in both of them because they're going to provide me a pretty good amount of value to my account. I want you guys to let me know if you are interested in both of these units, if you're going to be investing into both of them, and if you're going to be pulling for Miyabi. I'm pretty sure majority of you are, but I would still love to hear a lot of your feedback and talks in the comments because I just enjoy talking to y'all. So I appreciate you guys and all your love and support. Remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new, and always remember to believe in you that believes in yourself. I'll see you guys in the next one.